Bring me everyone.
What do you mean, everyone?
Everyone!
Welcome to Everyone Racers, a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture. It doesn't matter what kind of limit champ or lucky track dog league you run, SCCA or NASA, we don't discriminate. As long as you drive it hard and built it yourself. Join us each week for tech discussions, tips and tricks, as well as news and notes from the world of amateur endurance racing. And whether it's on the spot, hella sweet, or we're lucky enough, and Chrissy gives us just the tip, we're sure you'll giggle a little and learn even less. Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chrissy.
I'm Tim.
And I'm Mantle.
And we are Everyone Racers. And you knew this was coming, even though we never thought the show would ever get this far along. But
it is dare we say, the small box Chevy episode. It's episode 350.
Production of the original small block began in late 1954 for the 55 model year. And even every GM division produced their own V8. The small block became the division standard.
It was first available in the 1967 Camaro. The 350 would be used in every GM brand available since then, except Geo and Saturn.
And it powered everything. Not just station wagons, sports cars, but commercial vehicles, boats, industrial equipment, even aircrafts.
The 350 or a variant would be offered in some GM vehicle until 2003, and it's still available from GM Genuine Parts brand and built in Springfield, Missouri.
Now, the exact numbers are murky, but most agree that over 250 million Chevy 350s were produced from 1967 till 2003.
And sorry for Party Racing has only blown up 47 of those.
Fortunately, there's still more for you to use.
That makes the venerable 350 the most widely used engine of all time, with that decidedly American intro. How is everyone's fourth? And of course, what you working on?
What you working on?
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
Chris,
What you working
go
on?
ahead.
I should start?
Oh, sure.
Why not? Why not?
This all started when I was sitting in the NSX and I was about to move it out of the garage, and I noticed that one of the vent tabs, a little piece of plastic on the vent that you grab to move it around to point it where you want to go, right? I noticed one of them was at a weird angle. I grabbed it. It was loose. Interesting. And then I saw that there's a couple pieces, and the pieces are coming apart. So I touched the pieces, and wouldn't you know it, there's a little tiny piece in the middle, and that fell down in the vent. So I said, okay, I got to take the vent off. So I take the clock out, take the vent off, and wouldn't you know it, that piece fell out the back of the vent as soon as I moved it into the dash. This has now been hours of me taking all of the center console, the climate control, the radio, half the carpeting, and a whole bunch of other stuff out, searching for this little, tiny, stupid piece of plastic. I have used all kinds of various lights. I've put a vacuum in there after cleaning it. I've blown compressed air around it. I know every plug and wire and spot in there. And you know what? This little, stupid piece of plastic continues to elude me. And is necessary to put the two pieces together to make the vent tab work. You cannot buy it on its own. It seems to be NSX specific.
Duh.
A new vent from Honda is $650. A used one is probably in the $400 range. Supercar Life, yo.
And with the amount of time that you've spent on this one project, it's becoming a viable option.
Right.
If only
If
for the
anyone out
preservation of domestic tranquility, because I can feel your irritation, not just in your voice, but I empathize. I'm not nearly as measured and precise as you are. And now I'm going to have trouble sleeping knowing that there's an errant piece of plastic in the NSX.
Well, the problem is I can't put it all the way. If I put it back together, then that vent is just permanently going to be unadjustable. And that's just not, and asymmetrical. And I can't have that. That's not right.
First world problems.
It is, but still. And now I'm trying to figure out what
I wish we had
do.
pictures. Right in the center would be the perfect place for the picture of this broken vent.
It's in the Slack.
There's something you haven't tried yet. There's something you haven't tried. You haven't picked the car up from the front to let it fall out.
Put it on a rotisserie
angle.
Yeah.
Yep,
I think,
right.
Yep.
Shake it.
I think
Yeah.
all the way up and yeah.
So my options right now
You should have
are
started with.
go to a junkyard and try to find another era Honda
NSX?
product that has similar design vent. No, Honda
Oh.
product that has similar design vent piece. It says I'm thinking this can't be really exclusive to the NSX, right? Something else has to have it. Or I'm thinking some really good quality double-sided black tape could fit in between the two because this clamps the outer pieces of the tab together. So if I had some tape that I could do and trim just right, it could work. Or if we happen to know anybody that's a listener that has a 3D scanner and printer and is willing to take on a weird little project, I can take the other one apart
Oh my gosh.
and send this piece out.
That might work. That might work.
Yeah. So if you happen to have a 3D scanner and printer and are willing to deal with this stupid little piece, it's like seriously an inch long, about 3/8 of an inch wide, and about 1/8 of an inch thick with a couple holes in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be great. So anyway.
Yeah, that's what it
Aside
looks
from
like
that,
right now.
Yeah. I gave the Civic once over after the race. First time we actually got out of the trailer and looked at it. And the things we knew it needed are clearly need, like, brake pads. It's really nice to have all brake pads in place. So
All of them?
Need that.
Who needs all of them?
Honestly,
And,
you figure 7 out of 8, it's plenty. It's not even that big of a car.
Yeah. So we need the front brake pads to all exist. The driver's side inner axle we knew was torn and threw grease everywhere, and that's proving a bitch to clean up. And I also found that the outer boot on that same axle was torn. So I called Raxels and said, "What kind of boots do I need?" And they told me the cars that had the right size axles for this. So I've ordered boots so I can take that axle apart and clean it out and new grease and new boots, and that'll be okay. Also, the right front tire that was a brand new 245 Hankook got put a massive flat spot in when I had no brakes. The way they're because the Honda, they're cross-linked, so the right front and left rear worked, and those two locked up nicely. So I put a big old flat spot in the one that was left.
I feel a little bit better that it was you. So I'm glad it wasn't
I wouldn't
me.
have begrudged anyone that when you have no brakes and you're trying your best not to die or crash the car.
Yeah, because this isn't the boat. This is not the Wartburg. This is a fast friggin' car.
Like, don't crash into something. If you flat spot the tire instead, okay. Like,
Yeah.
we can deal with that.
Fine.
And aside from that, that's it. Civic looks great. I did find though that I had the rear shocks. One of them was basically full soft, and the other one was like 3/4 stiff. So that might have explained why the back end never felt quite settled to me.
I
ordered some parts
know
and-
you hate yourself for
Yeah.
that. You have no idea how much better I feel about several mistakes that I've made, knowing that you actually forgot to have the shocks adjusted symmetrically.
Yeah, I should never check that after I put them in.
Learn from
Last
us.
thing I
Learn from us.
Yeah, I conditioned the leather in the Cadillac with the nice leathery kit that came with the Rolls Royce, and damn if it doesn't look brand freaking new. So, would recommend.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would recommend buy a Rolls that comes with the 10-part leather conditioning and then use that after you've
For the next 10 years. Yeah. Yep.
Yes. I walked up and I was like, that was from the Rolls. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, if it worked, then
it's
that's
really
great.
good stuff. Right.
All right.
Timmy,
Well,
what's she working on?
oh, okay. Bye.
I'm bouncing around. I know. I don't want to ask you what you're working. I know what you're working.
Well, so quick backstory. My wife and I, right before we were going to drive across the country from California to Maine, that evening we're getting things staged to go into the pickup truck, and I walk out in the garage, and there is a puddle in front of her Tesla Model S. And so I look down, and there is a little stream shooting out of the radiator into the garage. So I look underneath the car, and oh, look at that, all the coolant's on the ground. So for those of you that aren't familiar with electric cars, yes, they do have a radiator. Yes, they have a cooling system. It helps keep the battery cool when you're under load or under charge. And as you can see in that picture, that little rock right there was just enough to take that sucker out. So Tesla, while a great vehicle, horrible on service. So I was like, well, the hell with those guys. I ordered one on Rock Auto and put a new radiator in, which wasn't that bad. I think to get the nose of the car off, it was, 10 bolts and a bunch of little plastic clips, which makes me very fearful for that car in another 15 years when they all get brittle.
Especially when it's what we were talking about this before the show, 107 out there.
Yeah.
And that car lives outside so that you have room for... No, that car lives inside. Unless I have the car explode, my other car exploded in the garage and there's no room for that car. But I usually only get a 2 or 3 day window where I can do that. So, because every time I've been to your house, the garage has been full of Corvette and TWAP. Yeah. Sometimes 2 Corvettes.
Yeah, fair. So the one thing I will say about Tesla that was pretty amazing is in order to hack into the service mode through the infotainment center, and there is a button you can hit that will just purge the air and the coolant through the system for 20 minutes, which is pretty amazing. So that was what we ended up doing. And I think I'm gigablasting right now. Am I gigablasting right now?
Ever so slightly.
You were. Now it's a little better.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, well. Well, hey, at least you fixed your Tesla. It's using all the internet
you guys can
right
hear what I'm
now in
saying.
the garage.
But everyone's
that's
frozen
it.
on my screen, so
Yeah, your Tesla.
I may go downstairs. Try this a little different.
Your Tesla's using all your interwebs.
Oh, I hope not.
Yep. He's going to get all those comments right at once as soon as he gets the internet back.
That's what we're going to say.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Well,
did you guys? All right. So you guys went to the water. I don't know what Tim did, but
for the
good 4th of July fireworks.
We did go to the 4th.
It rained.
Watch some. No, we went 4th and Cape was fine, and then it rained, and then we
4th
left.
is great. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's fair. We normally either go downtown to Old Vegas or to New Vegas, and they close off everything and do the fireworks. This year, we elected to do something different. We went to the Madison Square Garden Sphere. And,
yeah?
Because they've got the giant curve thing there. Oh, all right.
Can you mute Tim?
Yeah,
till
Tim.
He gets his
That's
act
all.
together?
Okay, we're going to shut Tim up until he figures that out.
Yeah.
And then they had like a drone show behind it. It was cool, but I would rather see stuff blow up. Drone shows are really, really fun, but yeah, I don't think the world is quite.
So there was no actual fireworks. You just saw the sphere and drone show.
Correct. And if you guys don't know what the Madison Square Garden sphere is, it's literally just this giant orb that is a screen projecting in every direction outward. I thought it was a lot of fun. I managed.
It was fun during the Vegas F1 race because they made it do things like
watch
the
like
race
the emojis watch the race. Yeah, they watch.
It'll actually do that like during the day. It'll watch planes come over, or it's the moon going through all of its phases in 10 minutes. But I managed to change all of the spark plugs in the Super Duty and not break any of them.
What?
Yes, because I had the tool. I was prepared for them to break. So I want to thank Jeff, and I want to thank Brian. I want to thank Chris, because I did everything they told me. I drove it for a couple days and just went through half a can of weasel piss. Every time I got in it, was going to go someplace, it's coated down. So they all came out and replaced them all. Amazon still hasn't worked out that guaranteed fit for car parts that way eBay and everybody else has. So I had to make a run up to O'Reilly's and get actual plugs that fit, but it worked out pretty well for me. We got all that to work. So got a tuned up truck. Go, Chris.
I'd recommend, I always use Rock Auto to search to find the right part number and then go put that part number in Amazon if I wanted to try that, because that usually guarantees a better choice of results. Which,
yeah, totally would have been the answer on that one. I'm still getting a check engine light to an evap canister, and I think it's the solenoid, because I replaced, it was only $70 for a new evap, and I figured 270,000 miles, it's not going to hurt to replace it. But now I've got to find out where the solenoid is, and the internet has proven to be very ineffective at locating the solenoid on a 2008 F250 5.4 to activate the evap canister. So I still can't get it to pass emissions.
Check all the lines too, because sometimes you get a leaky line, the rubber hose, it deteriorates, and or it just sometimes takes a long time for the evap code or the readiness monitor to clear.
Ooh, okay. That's valid.
Depends on the vehicle and how, like, you have to go through certain drive cycles. Like GMs are notorious for this. The drive cycles are like my Suburban, the old one. It took me once 4 months to get the drive cycles to complete, including the evap, because of how weird and specific it was.
Huh. Because I know about I've got to run it through the drive cycle. They won't emissions test it until it's completed the drive cycle. But yeah. I cleared all the codes and was just driving it around, and the damn light came back on for the same problem. But like you said, I could just need to suck it up and keep clearing it until it stops coming up.
And no, every time you clear it, you clear your drive cycles too, just so you know.
Yes.
So
exactly.
Yeah. All right. So that's probably really a problem then, not a drive cycle issue. So check the hoses.
So it's probably the solenoid.
Check the wires. Yeah, that thing sat in a field for years. Who knows what chewed on it?
True.
Really? Aren't there things in Oklahoma that like to chew on things?
Oh yeah.
Leave stuff in fields.
Chupacabras, all of it. Yeah, it's all there.
Right.
And Friday, not feeling great, feeling worse about today, almost like a sinus infection. Go to bed early, doing the feverish, wake up the next day, and what you know, I got the new Rona. So I spent the rest of the weekend just feeling like crap. Went ahead and took Monday off. I'm wearing a mask at work or when I'm in crowds right now, but I've recovered, but gone 4 years, totally dodged the Rona. Now I got, hit with it.
This is the first time you got it?
First time ever.
Oh, okay.
Well, first symptomatic time, at least, put it that way.
No, I had to take, early on, I had to take one of the things to see if I'd ever had it, and no.
Yeah, but good for you.
Yeah. So, despite all of that, undoutedly, right now,
Chrissy, what did you work on? No one ever actually asked Chrissy.
You know what? That is no. It matters. It does matter.
Okay. While Chris was doing all of that, first, actually, at 4th of July, I was in a parade. And I didn't even add this. I was in a parade, and I rode
Where can I find
moto.
pictures of this parade?
Did I put it in? I put it's in Slack.
Oh man, I got to get better about the Slack.
So I was in a parade, and I dressed myself up. This actually riding moto in a parade. This is a hometown parade. It goes down 2 dirt roads in the middle of Cape Cod, and but it was Chris's idea. So we brought moto and we decorated it, and I had so many moto fans.
I'd forgotten I'd seen this. Yes.
So many moto fans. So I had a great time. It was awesome.
Were you up against the really big go-karts with the really large wheels? So it's like you little moto and really big golf carts with wheels?
It's golf carts and bikes and
children.
Kids. Yeah, kids in little strollers, and it was not. It wasn't for winning things. Yeah, it was just a down the street type thing. So. Yes. Oh, and then when we were home and Chris was fighting with the little plastic piece that he lost, I washed all of the cars, including the truck, Who knew? We haven't washed the truck like ever. So there's me in my with my little dressed up moto. People have just never seen something like that, so they couldn't believe that it was. It doesn't do well down gravel or dirt roads, really. So that's okay. I had a good time. I walked cars. Now let's talk. You've heard another voice on here. It's the return of Gentleman Dave Mills. What are you working on? The World Traveler.
Yeah, it's been quite a Q2. I had a bit of an onslaught of trips this year, similar to last year. Everything was stacked up the first half of the year. So, end of March, I did the LeMans Rally, picked up a new vehicle out in New Mexico, and did the LeMans Rally in a new, to me, 68 K20 Suburban 3-door.
Then you tried to die at a forlorn abandoned airport.
Not quite. I mean, I only had to dig out once. Learn what to and what not to do with 4x4 and four-wheel drive. First to be 4x4. Made it all back to Jersey by way of California, Oklahoma. California all the way to Oklahoma over 5 days, and then another day and a half back to Jersey. First week of May, we started with, continuing with Watkins Glen up with AER, supporting them with their flagger support, and then stayed for another week or so in the Seneca Lake region with the Suburban. Back down to VIR with AER at the end of first week of June. A month later, also Suburban. En route, I guess I had still shaking it down. I'm basically a set of rear shocks and a transfer case from having touched all the fluids and the major components of drive components, engine components, fluids and whatnot. Second week of June, the New Jersey Motorsports Park women's race, and then we had zipped off to France, which I think we'll get into tonight. I took it before LeMans. I had gone over to Zurich, Switzerland, which is where my global home office is based out of. Spent some time there with some coworkers I've known for a long time, and also visiting Switzerland, and then back to Le Mans, and then just got back this past weekend from a trip to Vegas, a trip to take my second out of 4 nephews. He himself having graduated 4th in his class of 220. Very proud of him. Took him out to Vegas, not just gamble. Our destination was really a 4-day trip. 1 day at a ranch on the north side of the Grand Canyon, where we did horse rides, skeet shooting, and ATVs. Second day, we took a helicopter into the canyon to meet up with a boat for a 3-day float down to Lake Mead. And then from the boat, got transferred to a jet boat, and then from there to a school bus to a coach back to the hotel. All in all, I think we counted like 10 or 11 modes of transportation in like 4 days,
Wow.
And then from there, picked up a rental for visit to some of the national parks. So got to Zion, got to Bryce. We spent our 4th of July at a rodeo in Bryce City, and then watched the fireworks after that. Pretty good show. And then ventured as far out as Grand Staircase National Monument, which did entail no getting stuck in sand in a RAV4 2-wheel drive.
Rented
Rented
RAV4.
Rented RAV4. Yeah, with the insurance. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I'm gonna need all the insurance.
This was if you guys Google Coyote Gulch outside Grand Staircase, it's about 40 miles off path, and then from there it's a 7-mile road, which we were able to cut off about 4 miles of it before it started saying 4x4 is recommended standing ahead, and that really scared me, having just spent 3 hours during the day 1 of the LeMans Rally digging the truck out, which was miserable. So I had immediate flashbacks, Well,
because you had like a bar, and everybody was getting like a text from you every now and again going, where am I? Am I? Yeah,
No, we're still alive. Which one are we talking about? Because that one I dug out 3 hours at like 10 o'clock at night with a moonlight. This one, it's 110 degrees, and we are 50 miles from nowhere.
Fair.
And so a little bit different circumstances. Yeah, granted it was a rental, but we did venture 1 mile into the sand path, and I did go through a soft spot, and I thought that was it. And that's the next hard spot we found. We parked it, and I was like, all right, that scared me, and it scared him too. I want to say the 3 miles out and 3 miles back, and this is like midday, 2 in the afternoon, climbing down to this gulch. First 2 miles was sand, and the last was finally got some hard pack and some canyon level stuff. But I think we both said on the way back that we were both thinking about that stand on the exit as being like top of mind on the entire trip down. So we didn't die.
Well, you made
we were
it.
smart.
Good. No chupacabras eating. Yeah, okay, good. Okay, you all made it.
All right.
Great. So that means it's time for
News and Notes time! Oh, if I yell, I'm not sure how that works. Okay, I'm sorry. In 2020, Mazda, in a push-up market, eliminated the Mazda Speed models. The brand gave consumers performance-focused models of the Mazda 3, the Mazda 6, and of course the Miata. But in January, Mazda handed hot rodding duties over to a new sporting sub-brand, Mazda Spirit Racing, teasing versions of the Mazda 3 and Miata as concepts to coincide with the announcement. Nick Berg at Hagerty has now spy photos of what is believed to be the first Mazda Spirit Racing Miata. Images of test mule show a slower, stiffly sprung roadster with a chin spoiler, side skirts, rear valance, and a lip spoiler. Mazda is quiet about any power upgrades, but as Nick said, with testing well underway, hopefully we won't have to wait too long to find out. Additionally, the Miata faithful can also expect a 35th anniversary Miata this year with open build slots for a fixed period to allow anyone who wants one to place an order. Expect that car to have Recaros, special wheels, along with upgraded brakes and suspension. It is expected to also have a special color, which is yet to be determined. Or if it's yet to be, it's probably determined, just no one knows about it yet.
Valid.
What's a real color instead of like the various shades of bland that they currently get for the most part, except for Soul Red. I like that we've got a new color. You know what color it is? Freaking hearing aid beige. That's what color they gave us. Thanks, Mazda. That's great.
The 30th anniversary had that cool orange color. So, yeah.
Yeah. And they sold out in like 10 minutes because people were like, ooh, a color. That's great.
Oh, yay! It's
valid.
Yeah.
Valid.
over.
Yeah. And hopefully it's stiffy sprung too, because that's my favorite way that it's sprung.
I almost spit out my soda.
Yep. Mantle, did you unmute Tim yet? Because he's still sitting there.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, Tim, you got to talk, don't you? We were getting like the Uber echo. Sorry, buddy.
Back.
Yay.
Yay! Why is he so quiet?
That guy doesn't say anything ever.
No.
Oh.
Sorry.
Well,
Growing
that's
pains.
all right. Sorry for the Giga Blast. Lawrence Hodge at Jalopnik has a strange convergence of cars, boats, and planes, and it's not at Chris and Chrissy's house. Last Thursday, a semi-tractor trailer carrying a yacht, an oversized load carrier, attempted to cross under LA International Airport down Sepulveda Boulevard Tunnel, which runs under 2 runways at LAX. And you no doubt guessed the load made it a decent distance down the tunnel, and then the big boat became firmly lodged. The airport police had to shut down the blocked lanes and then carefully maneuver the boat in reverse and eventually guided it back into the Imperial Highway. In a Facebook post, the LA Airport police added, "The spectacle left commuters both bewildered and amused as they watched this nautical mishap unfold in an unexpected urban setting. Traffic was at a standstill, but most folks figured out how to drive around the boat. Hodges said the driver probably should have checked the route before heading out. If they had, they'd known that the nearly 2,000-foot-long boulevard only has a clearance of about 13.5 to 15 feet. No doubt the reversing caused additional damage to the giant yacht, and it's not a stretch to think California-based transportation company is looking for a new truck driver this week."
It's fine. Yep. It's fine. I'm not going around the airport. I'm bringing the boat through the airport. Suck it up.
It'll fit. I measured.
The last time we were on that road, it was blocked, all lanes blocked, and was moving inches anyway. So can you imagine if there was a boat stuck under the on the freeway?
Oh, it's gonna be ruthless.
Boat.
Nice.
Imagine if you're landing on the runway and you're like, why is there a giant boat under the runway right now?
Exactly.
What's possibly going on there?
Who knows? That's about as likely as the fact that the Nissan Versa and Mitsubishi Mirage sales are soaring in 2024. I mean, these are the two worst cars produced. But okay.
Who knew?
Adam Ismal like to drive. Tell us about the sales, but not the why. On average, new cars are more expensive than they've ever been, and consumers appear to be responding in predictable ways by buying the cheapest models on the market. Mitsubishi and Nissan, two-thirds of the auto industry's strangest alliance, reported their U.S. sales for the second quarter of 2024 on Tuesday, and both Mirage and Versa are posting strong numbers, especially diminutive Mitsubishi, which is up 85.5% year-to-date compared to the first half of 2023.
But that's like 9 cars. They just sold 9 more cars.
That's true. In the second quarter of 23, Mitsubishi sold only 1,974 Mirages. That included the hatchback and the sedan. This time they moved 4,859 of them. Woo! Mirage starts at 17,840, although that trim costs about the 5 doors about $2,200 more, and there is a Rally Yard appearance package. It's not faster, no, but it has some
But it's
stripes
got stickers.
stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's as good as Mitsubishi gets these days. Stickers on it. Yeah.
Wait, but
Anyway,
don't
Versa.
stickers make you go fast?
Sure. Yep. For the people that are buying a Mirage because they have a 540 credit score and it's the only thing they're getting approved on, then sure, it makes them faster. Yeah. Versa's up 45% year over year for the second quarter. In comparing numbers, they delivered 6,800 more of them, so up to 17,000 units. So this is like 2 days of F-150 production. So hey, I can't wait until we see the first 3-cylinder Mirage at LeMans. Can't be very far off. I mean, after 5 buy here, pay here owners, how much is it worth?
And this feels like one of those opportunities where every LeMans judge would be like, "Oh, I'll guarantee you no, we got it. You don't even need to guarantee class. You could win Class C in a Mitsubishi Mirage. You're staying in Class C.
It's still
totally
Class C. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
A miserable little car.
Both.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Now, folks, we have mentioned the upcoming Brad Pitt F1 movie repeatedly because, well, I think it's going to be really, really cool. The trailer has dropped this week, and it seems like we're not the only ones that are looking forward to it. All right. So Ross Bellat at Hooniverse has some thoughts as well. He writes, quote, F1 has many markings of a very solid film. On top of a Brad Pitt lead actor, the movie was directed by Joseph Kosinski, whose recent accomplishments include the incredible Top Gun Maverick. That's a stretch to call it. It was fine. It was okay. Top Gun Maverick. It's produced by Sir Lewis Hamilton, written by Aaron Kruger, who penned The Ring. And what stands out about this film is each current Formula One team and driver will appear in some capacity. Even Checo Perez on his Instagram posted a shot of that he had apparently taken while they were still making the movie of Fernando Alonso clearly trying to get into the background of the film as Brad Pitt walked by, and gave him a bit of a hard time about that one. Naturally, a link to the article and the teaser trailer is in our show notes. What do you think? I know we were talking about it in one of our comm channels. It's going to be like every other car movie. There's going to be stuff that's garbage. Even the intro where he's talking about we must build the car for combat. I'm going to write that off as garbage, but I'm still going to go see it.
I'm hoping with the amount of involvement actual racing people have in
Yeah.
They're going to try to limit the stuff like the Ford versus Ferrari staring at each other while driving down Mulsanne Straight and always having another gear and another inch of throttle left, despite going 200 miles an hour in a death machine that a GT40 was. I'm hoping they limit that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
One downshift away from winning the race.
Every time.
Right. That's if movies have taught me nothing, the way to win the race is just decide to go faster.
Yeah.
I mean, it was nice to hear that Brad Pitt did a lot of practice and learned how to drive a car. That's apparently what they said when they put the trailer out. It looks very digitized. Like it looks like somebody made it with a AI. Like it just doesn't look real. And also we have they put the drama
Okay,
in
so
Drive to
pretend this
Survive.
is your.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll buy that one. Let's see if we can get a copyright.
I mean, yes, I'm still
violation
gonna go see. We're
This
gonna
doesn't work
get
very
shut
well,
down.
Mantle. It's tiny on the screen. Yeah, no.
here. Okay, fair enough. We're not going to bother with it. All right.
Go
Anybody
watch
can
it.
find the link.
Click
It's
the
on
link.
YouTube.
Go. See
Yeah,
it.
click the link.
And-
It'll totally be
and
in
you
the show
probably have already
notes.
seen it.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Let's talk about racing junk. So I found a couple of Pontiac. There are a few things that were on this week, but we're going to be talking the actual race. But let's talk about these 1974 Pontiac LeMans for sale in Dayton, Ohio, for just $8,300. And this guy is really excited to sell this car. This is all in caps, reduced to $8,300. This is a Sport LeMans, orange exterior, white and orange interior, bucket seats, air. It comes with air. Cool. Garage.
In the 70s, that's kind of a big deal.
Well, I mean, I just figured I
It is.
didn't say like cold air. Like it just says you can have air in the car. So I wasn't thinking it was like air conditioning. It was like it is.
You
not
are
a
allowed to
vacuum.
breathe in your car.
It is not a vacuum, so that's good. Garage kept with car cover, so it is a 350 cubic inch automatic trans. Now it says AC. I'm sorry. Power windows, tinted all around. But this is the in all caps, must see to appreciate. If you don't want to be seen, this car is not the car for you. One look is worth 1,000 words. Rare model. It only has one picture though. Womp
Exactly.
womp.
One step
You know what would
away
be
from
worth
saying
Yeah, more than 1,000 words, 4 more pictures. Just, the $20 that you could have spent,
Well, if you
gotten the
get the
pro membership. Yeah.
this guy's one step away from
Have a lot more
I
than
know what I have. No low balls. He's typing it with 2 fingers, like with the all caps on. I mean, he's that close.
Oh.
Did you see his username?
No balls.
He likes broccoli. He's a broccoli man.
I have
No,
totally missed
what
this.
is it? What is
Broccoli
it
Private
man.
say?
his nickname is Broccoli Man.
Broccoli Man. Fair enough.
Oh,
Yep.
that's
Yeah.
a new one.
He's his vegetables, so trust me, so.
He works at the grocery store.
Oh,
Maybe
all right.
so.
Maybe so. Oh, did we lose Chris? We lost Chris. Awesome.
It's probably Giga Blasting. Okay, it's upcoming races.
That's right, folks. You have got LeMans at Autobahn. They are doing time in Joliet. You've got 85 cars. Only 10 of those are BMWs, 4 Miatas, 3 Hondas, 3 Porsches, and of course, from fifth host, Eric Rude. Quote, we have the biggest Autobahn field in 6 years with 85 entries. The first Malibu Max, the CTS, hopefully returns with the Opel V6 and the automatic in it. And there is, quote, good garbage and a healthy amount of rookies. Judging? Well, naturally, you're going to have Eric Rude. It's his hometown. You've got Dr. Mary Harris, fresh back from Le Mans. We're going to be talking about that in a second. Neil Losi, International Man of Mystery, and Brian Trainer, which I think we've all worked with Brian, right? We all love Brian.
Yep.
So,
Brian's
yeah.
great.
And the whole thing like that, the track is run by Mike Gritter, who is also functioned as a judge. He's functioned as tech. He's done, the timing and scoring and everything like that. And while it is, Autobahn is a great country club, Mike runs a professional organization. Everybody that works there is great. They're all going to have a fantastic time. I've driven that race. I love running at Autobahn. I'm a little jealous I can't be there.
I think we should have a little listener guess the max contest.
Ooh.
How many laps will the max do?
Ooh, I like this one. Yes. All right. Before this weekend, tell us how many laps you think that Chevy Max is going to go. Chris, what do you think?
124.
Ooh. Dave? All right, Chrissy?
82.
82. 88. Tim?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with 103.
Oof, 103. I'm an optimist. I think it's going to last all weekend.
One lap.
One lap. Yeah,
right? Who's going to be the over-under here?
134? No, I think it's going to do 150. I think it's going to last all weekend. It's not going to be fast. That's 75 laps a day. It can do it. 150.
Okay.
Right.
Champ Cars.
Tell us what you think.
Oh, sorry. Nelson's ledges. Excuse me. I have to pronounce that
Right? There's an
correctly.
S missing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go hang out with the Juggalos to the drug bridge. 34 cars. Wow, that's ample space. 9 of them are BMWs, 7 Miatas, 3 Hondas, 4 Porsches, an 84 Rabbit, but there's an 89 Beretta.
Hell
That's
yes.
fun. A Ford Probe and a 2003 Accord sedan. So, great. They're going to be able to stretch their elbows and have plenty of room if they see
Hey,
anyone.
Race
that
anybody.
Beretta needs to be able to run, baby. That is a purebred racing machine.
It is.
Learn to drive stick on a brother, man.
You found
I
a
hope it's
stick shift
sorry.
Beretta? That's impressive.
I learned to drive stick on a 5.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
1987.
That you had to be like one of the 7 non-GTU stick shift Berettas that were out there, because everybody else would get the V6 and the automatic. Every hairdresser in Georgia, when they got rid of their Cavalier Z24, they upgraded to the Beretta.
Upgraded.
Well, everybody in podcast land can't see that Tim had air quotes.
Oh, they heard it. They absolutely heard those air quotes.
Okay, it's listener feedback time.
That's right. It is time for listener feedback time while I'm clicking on the machine. Now, after hearing me talk about Craig Gass, a celebrity vocal mimic last week, Zach Gadwell texted me and said, quote, I just spent 5 minutes trying to do Al Pacino as a baby and it sounded perfect the first time and I could never get it right again.
On the YouTubes from last week's episode regarding tool organization for a work weekend, at It's Probably Fine joked that I've found that if I'm looking for one of my tools in the paddock, there's a 90% chance that the Vannenball guys have it.
Accurate.
Accurate. They think they took
not
some
wrong.
stuff and they accused us of taking some of their stuff too. So there's that. Well, they thought because they had a bunch of kids that were trying to help them. Anyway, I posted a what you working on as we were cleaning the Honda's underside, and this is a picture of it on its side. Lots of you working on non-car stuff.
Nathan S. poured 800 pounds of concrete putting up his new gazebo, and the dogs inadvertently took care of autographing the new concrete.
I have to.
You totally have to.
800 pounds, that's a lot.
Mantle's playing with
Oh,
pictures.
I'm sorry. Yeah, crap. Matt
goodness.
F. I'm over here trying to be director. Our buddy Matt had his jet ski. One wouldn't charge. The other one had a leak. Womp, womp.
All right, Carl was
Yep.
pretending that cars don't exist for a while, so I can finally build my deck.
Go, you pick good weather for it, Carl. Sasha is not so power washing the airplane. Turns out it can be just as shiny. Wow.
Chris was
Who
so
knew?
excited
I
to
like-
see that.
Yeah, I
White
knew they
is
had a
actually
wash rack
white.
there. I just never did anything with it. But maybe I should do that. Oh well.
Oh, wait
Plane
a minute.
wash.
We have a white plane?
Right? It's not gray?
It was gray and black with random spots of bird crap. I just thought that was the color scheme.
Camouflage. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Adam said the ever-patient Mrs. N had her ACL repaired, so I've been proving I am willing to treat her better than my race cars. So he has been head chef at Mofoco HQ. We hope you feel better soon.
Yes, we do. Now, he also mentioned that he was working on a, quote, while she wasn't looking, he started a third race car build that he's not sure how he's going to use, but he got a second SC30 for legit LeMans money, the evil twin to Mrs. N's car, and he added 900 pounds of lightness this weekend. Now, on a side note, if you are looking for interior for your Lexus SC430 and you need that stuff, he has got a deal for you. But that food actually looked pretty good as well.
All right, we had lots of car stuff as well. So Randy, it's just Randy, Raven Hell, Praisendale, and picking up 15 more 15-inch picking up more 15-inch takeoff tires on the way to Yo Girl's crib, including a tasty vid of his B body wagon with tasty burnout.
And I wanted to so bad get this to work, but I can't. But here it is. If you're watching the screen and the upper right-hand corner, that's a pretty dope burnout. You got to admit.
It is. Especially from a station wagon with the wood grain. That's great.
Right? Totally.
All right. Jeremy M. of Fail Contraception Racing was dropping a new windshield in their sweet Firebird.
Where
just
is
going to be
there
broken
it is.
at the
There's
next
their
race.
sweet Firebird.
Yep.
Scott H was replacing the throwout bearing, well, more so the slave cylinder on the K-Swap Miata.
Exactly. And I've got to get faster with this crap. I'm not good at this. Tyler X was fixing a grounding issue on his dash and added some much needed front camber. He couldn't even get him to match up. He was asking about adding some shims. So if you know something about the front end on a Mazda 3, not the Mazda 3, it is, it's a the little hatchback thing.
MX3. Different.
MX3. God bless. Yeah. I couldn't get my brain to brain that day.
And also,
it's got a Mazda 3
that needs a new engine. So let's do this thing.
Like I can help you with Mazda 3 stuff. The MX3.
Yeah.
Different. I don't know what that is.
Let's do that.
Right.
And congratulations to Garage Heroes for pulling a transmission and replacing worn components. Vicky did a great job. She was talking with Chris half the time, but she was successful as far as I know.
No, she just showed me when she was successful on it. She did this on her own. Well, at least not with my help.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Great.
Awesome.
You know who also didn't need my help pulling a tranny this weekend?
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
What bar was she at where she pulled that tree?
I feel like she's sitting in Snowflake right now going, I don't know why they're laughing.
She probably does.
Because she's not working on transmissions. Duh. That's why it's too hot. And she has other people to do that.
And they're right, and they're very heavy. Although I think I think Snowflake needs one, so there's that.
It's needed one for like 60,000 miles, and yet it keeps trucking on. This is the world's highest mileage non-opened 4L60E. It's up to like 260,000 miles.
It is legitimately impressive that very well loved, somewhere.
It's completely neglected for the first 200,000 miles of its life, and then I came around.
No, it was only neglected for 100,000 miles because before I had it, Samantha and Mom had it, and I know this because when I ejected the CD player, it was Samantha and Mom's road tripping mix.
That's so cute. Oh, I had no idea. Hi, Mom.
Hello, Chrissy's mom.
Hi, Chrissy's mom.
Okay, it's main time! I think I can hear myself from upstairs.
You can. No way.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Somewhere in their house, two cats just went.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're used to it now. They're used to it. So, hey, we went to Le Mans, like the one in France, the old French one that they race around a lot for a while.
Like a long
might have
time.
heard of it. Right.
And
you know who else was there? Dave was there with us. So we're going to talk about how to attend and camp at Le Mans. And we're just, this is one of a series of Le Mans stories we're going to have because it was a fun experience and we're hoping you actually want to hear about it. So really, how to camp right. We're going to talk about different styles, different things we learned, different things we did, and see how it goes. So let's get going. First off, let's talk about how do you get there and how do you get around once there? Because I didn't really know. And we learned some things that I think are interesting to know about getting there and getting around there. We drove in in our rental Renault Megane estate. And I won't say it was an easy drive. It was fine until we got to Le Mans, except for the wrong turn that I took, and then the second wrong turn I took, and then the transmission failure we had. But the thing I will say is that all roads lead to Arnage, apparently, because every sign that you
all
can actually have
roads
signs
lead
pointing
to Arnage.
right and left,
This way,
pointing
and
to
then this
Arnage.
way. Yes,
That's like when I was in
it
did
Germany.
go through Arnage.
Yeah, in Germany, the
Yeah.
biggest city is Ausfahrt. I don't know what that's all about.
Who knew, right? So here's a tip. If you're going into the camping area, you need to go to the west side of the track. Is the only entrance into the camping area. Even though it might look like you can get there from the east, it really
Cannot.
doesn't work. So
And I think
don't use Google Maps. Use Waze. Waze was able to route us through some of that stuff, and we didn't learn that the first day, except till we'd driven all the way around the entire track a couple times.
because the track is some of the roads around there, it is very difficult because you think that you can get there, and the roads are actually the track. Nope. So, and also it helps if you have somebody who can pretend to speak some French, because Dave and Chris just kept telling me to get out and talk to people and ask where we were supposed to go, and then the security guards would go, "Oh."
The look on their face alone was like, you are nowhere close. It's body language either way.
Yep.
Multiple
Yep.
times.
And
Well,
and they
that's
would
why we
like
sent
look
Chrissy,
around.
because let's send the pretty lady who speaks a little bit of French to go ask for directions. That
But then
usually
they
works better,
they
especially
speak
in
no
France.
English, and they go and this way and this way and this way, and I was like, okay, a gauche. Okay.
Arnage.
Arnage. All roads lead to Arnage. And when we saw Arnage for a third time, we were like, stop it. Okay, so yes, driving.
And
driving
my
around
favorite
a
was
lot.
this: get to the T intersection, and we had a sign pointing left that was yellow that said Arnage, and we had a sign pointing right that was purple that said Arnage. We're like, well, he said to go to Arnage. Which way do we go? Yeah.
We did.
you
It took
can-
us what 2 hours to find.
Yeah,
the
an hour and a half to
parking lot?
driving around the wrong way. Yeah.
Yep.
We found a lovely market that had blocks of ice. That was nice. Yeah.
That we thought it was close to our camping site, and then it was
Nope,
not
it was Animal
anywhere
Sen.
close.
So
Yeah, it was far away.
yeah.
Not
Oh,
close.
okay.
So the other way you can get there is take the train from Paris to the town of Le Mans. And then the thing we didn't really know very much, but we got quite familiar with, is that Le Mans has a lovely tram system that is light rail that's easy on and off with regular stops, and it goes all the way down to the track and then back up into town and has regular stops, and it runs every few minutes. And so would highly recommend the tram system at Le Mans. What do you guys think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was great to
Team
be able to get stuff. This is where you absolutely, well, we'll talk about what you need to bring, but you absolutely need a reusable bag or 5, because they don't give you bags. And when you go to the store and you go to Carrefour, which is like the Target, Walmart, very large store with everything you could possibly want, you have to have a way so you can bring it back with you, which we went to a couple times.
Mhm.
Oh, that's so far in from
Mhm.
that's on the track.
That's all right.
So yeah, so
All right,
the
so we're
tram was
there.
great.
And when you pull up, if you have a camping spot, you have a pass for your camping ahead of time, and you eventually find the right campground area, which they have a map on the website that shows the different campground areas. You get to the right one, and a very nice person on a bicycle will lead you to your allocated plot of dirt.
Oh, grass.
And
It had grass.
grass, yeah. Well, dirt and grass, whatever. But I was actually pretty pleased with the facilities that were available to us once we were camping. One of you two want to explain what was there and what it was like?
Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, Dave.
Well, our facilities, our campsite, it's probably 20 by 30, I think, square footage.
Yeah. But
And in your
what was there?
package
I was really
sardines.
surprised at the facilities.
Yeah, so you're in basically a fenced-in area. Not too far from where you're at, there are portable showers and toilets. Hot water, spigot for refill and tap water, washing pans and whatnot, and then trash was a stone's throw away as well. So everything you really needed to basically go camping. They probably they were gridded out, A B C D E F G in terms of rows, and then numbered from there. There's probably half dozen or so in our row, and then sort of back up, 6 on one side, 6 on the other. So you shared common neighbors with 5 people. Which you got to know, from different countries, and represented different flags, and whatnot. It was cool. It was quite the experience to be right there on site. And
You learn the difference between Danish and Dutch. Yeah.
And you can fight people on that they're wrong.
Danish and
Just what Dave
Swiss,
did.
actually. So in my defense, I put the flags in there in the show notes. They are close, and the flag that I was looking at was mildly crippled up a little bit. So outside of the one cross being extended, the other one, I had half of a leg to stand on, I suppose. So,
It was red
it
and
wasn't-
white. Was the leg that you stand
red
on?
and white. It's red and white, and they both have crosses in the middle. So I just didn't see the extension of the one cross before I called it bullshit. Whatever.
Oh, okay.
He knew it's
All
his
right.
country.
I was pleased with the quality and condition of the restroom facilities in the campground.
Oh,
over the
it
weekend.
was awesome.
They had people attending them all the time to make sure they were in good shape. The shower trailers had 5 or 6 showers in them, shower
nice,
stalls in them, which one was much better than the other. From what I
found out.
only one.
I
That's
found
pretty
out
good.
the hard
Chrissy did
way
both.
that way. Yeah.
But the water was warm enough and had enough of a flow, and sometimes the lines were really long, as happens, so just avoid those times. A bunch of Europeans standing in their underwear holding a towel,
With no concept of like American personal boundaries either. That feels unnerving to me.
you're just in a different place. You are the weird
whatever.
one there. So that's okay. But I was pleasantly surprised by the quality of the facilities that were there.
Absolutely. Yeah, and then they had all kinds of the trash only got piled up at the very end, but they had huge trash cans that had really nice locking lids, but they had recycle and they had glass recycle and cardboard recycle. So they had like these 3 big bins, and there were plenty of them. So the trash was not a problem until the race was over, or close to it. So yeah, no, the facilities were really nice. And they had these facilities all over the place. So this was just in our campsite, which was great, which was kind of fairly small. But if you walked through the gate, there was more of these really nice trailer porta potty type things. So they were kind of all over the place.
Yep. We were in the
Pretty good facilities, nice
Houxannex,
place.
HOUXANNEX campsite for reference. So we had very different setups in how we stayed at the track. Chrissy and I had the station wagon, folded all the seats down. It was just enough room me being 5'11", I could put my feet on the tailgate, and my head was just about touching the seat back for the driver's seat. So that worked out great. The car was dry. It was warm. You could run it for heat. We used it for power. I would say that was the best
We used
thing
it for
the Renault
power
Meggo.
when it was running. When we could turn it on.
It would usually
Because
start.
there's plenty of times we couldn't turn it on. So there's that.
We just didn't want to go anywhere with it after that. That was the best
Correct.
thing about the Renault Megane is it was a decent thing to sleep in. It wasn't very good to drive or anything else, but it was decent to sleep in. I thought that worked out really nicely. We put all our stuff in the front. It had lots of power ports, which was nice to have. It just all worked out pretty well. Would enjoy. So Dave, why don't you describe your setup a little bit, because it requires some explanation, I think.
Perhaps a picture. I think I have a picture available.
A picture
here.
would be nice. That
All
would
right,
Mental.
stalking your Facebooks, I found
Did you find
this
one?
picture. But
That's a good one.
It looks like your method was to base it somewhat on their car.
It was.
Well,
It was an
that's how
anchor
it
point,
happened.
right? So let me back up. Let me back up a couple days because my ride to Le Mans didn't follow directions. We were supposed to get supplies at the Le Mans Carrefour, not the one an hour from the track itself. Apparently, they stock the one in LeMans for supplies such as tents. So I went out and looked for it.
Here I thought
Back an hour
stopping
away,
at the one an hour
they didn't
away
have one.
would be. I thought the one an hour away would be better because I figured, well, the one right by the track, they're just gonna, that one's gonna be cleaned out
Yeah,
of all this
busy,
stuff.
yeah.
Isn't it smart? Yeah.
No, they were not.
Nope.
So fallback plan was a couple tarps, and so I typically bring a piece of rope with me. I used our gentleman from Germany. It was Dave, and who was the other gentleman we were with? Tomas's tent as an anchor point,
from the
and
Netherlands.
then your car door. Yes, that's Netherlands. No, Germany and Netherlands. Yeah. Your car door is the second anchor point, and then I had brought two tarps, one smaller than the other one. The smaller one goes below, the larger one goes above. And outside the first day, where the tarps sort of pulled away from the car, everything else was dry the rest of the weekend. So, and plenty of room back there as well. Or excuse me, under there.
You had your nice little hovel under there. Really?
It's a nice little hovel.
You had so much stuff under there. When it would blow up, you would just like all of your clothes, all of the food that you bought,
My pillows,
a little excessive. And then we had to go back to the store the next. Oh, look, there's some other good pictures of our little cooler that we bought and we shared, which wasn't quite big enough for us, but we made it work. But that was also our table, and also as the table. Then Dave decided to make coffee and strain the coffee all over the table. Which
all we had was
cooler.
paper towels to strain the coffee. So.
Did it work? Did you have a nice delicious cup of coffee?
It was actually awesome.
Priorities, man. You need that coffee.
I would do instant next time, no doubt. That was too much of a pain in the butt.
It was a pain in the butt, but it was delicious, and it was even better because of the effort that you put into it. So there's that.
Okay. So let's keep going. We got lots to cover here. What to bring that we didn't necessarily bring? Why don't you guys start off, and I'll fill in after you two go.
Well, we brought a lot of stuff knowing that we were going to camp in the car. So we started making a list of all the things that we knew that we needed to buy when we got there. So we knew we were going to take showers. We weren't going to bring towels because we didn't want to keep them. Same with bedding. So we knew that we needed to buy all of that and while we were at the store. So that was part of why we took the car, went to Carrefour before we got to the track so we could buy all of these supplies for our bedding. So that was the big one. What we did bring
Carrefour
was
is like French super Target for those that don't know.
I thought I said that already. I'm sorry. Okay. The one thing that we did bring that was really great was bedding. Blow up mattresses, like camping mattresses for our beds. And it was great. So they roll up really thin. You blow them up and use them as bedding, and that ended up being really great. So that's part of what we bought.
We brought stuff we were there for 2 weeks and had 4 different vacations, so we only had that much. In general, though, layers of clothes, because you're going to be in everything from hot and sunny to cold and raining almost every time. So bring those. Bring very comfortable shoes to walk in, likely 2 pairs, because one of your pairs of shoes is going to get wet, no doubt. It always rains at LeMans every single time. A jacket or an umbrella, something you don't mind getting wet, something that dries easily, a couple different options. Yeah.
And we didn't have any of those, and I was super cold. And when it rained, and it rained sideways, and it was cold and raining. So yes, that was the absolute thing that I should have done better. But knowing that we were going to spend the last part of our vacation on the beach, I didn't feel like bringing a jacket was high on the list of things that I wanted to carry around with me for the vacation. So I just didn't, but you should.
I feel like you're going to have a chance to buy, like, probably overpriced, but some sort of like branded merchandise. Like, high on that list would be ponchos, right? Or no?
We brought ponchos, yes, okay. But then you end up wearing them, and then did we wear them? we wore them later.
We wore them later, not while we were at Le Mans. Dave
Yeah,
wore
we didn't
his.
wear
He got
them
a
at Le
lovely,
Mans.
a jaunty red one at Carrefour.
Yeah, it's like $9. Something I probably would have brought was like a Frog Togs type of setup, pants, and top. That would have been nice.
Yep, it would have.
And then just to bring, I would have brought earplugs, more socks than even my extra socks, my initial. And then something I ended up purchasing was a little pricey. Was just a lanyard and for your ticket. So like a plastic bag and a lanyard, if you want to keep it cheap, or you just need something to carry your ticket around because mine was starting to smudge and I was afraid.
Yeah.
What's that?
I got
Yeah, you have
stack
to
of them right there.
And you have to show it all the time. So because they don't want people to try to get in where there are seats or not seats, so you end up just taking it out of your pocket. I had a really nice bag, and I kept make sure that it was in there so it was dry. But if you kept it in your pocket, yes, you absolutely needed it because you were gonna get it swiped multiple times. Good call.
I feel like
right,
every show we've ever, like, PRI, SEMA, the Philly car show, every car show, you should like go to the free booths and just collect nothing but the little plastic bags and lanyards and just all the lanyards, every lanyard, every lanyard they make.
That's why, like Chris is saying, like we have all. He's looking at them. We have them all sitting on the wall. It's just that we didn't think that we needed to bring it, but you definitely need them if you have when you have tickets because you have to prove that you're going there.
That would have been
all
very
right,
nice.
Dave. You have a laundry list of things that you should buy, would buy.
Okay, so I just did another trip down to the canyon for a couple days in the desert. So if I'm to put together, let's say a weekender trip for a couple days of camping, in this case, a couple days of Le Mans, fork and spoon, Nalgene container, something with a wide mouth, of canister of some sort. I find carrying a porcelain cup that can also be used as both you can heat tea in it. It's I guess aluminum with plastic or porcelain coating. 25-foot of rope, a handful of tarps, and then depending on how much cooking or tea or coffee, even just having like tea and instant coffee, small packets. I would have found, or I just traveled with, a pot and a percolating kettle. They're real lightweight aluminum. They travel real easy. They're maybe 8 inches tall. They fit in a carry-on. A can of bottle opener, and then just having assorted spices, salt, pepper. I carry a Cajun mix, an Italian mix, and sort of hot pepper packets from Domino's. Just to, I don't know if you have, pasta, you've got some Italian mix to mix it in. Salt, pepper can go on anything. Just small samples of things. You don't need big bottles of it. Just a couple, servings of different spices.
And that's your general just travel advice, not specifically for Le Mans, but just because you do a lot of. When we had you on the last time, we'd all been locked away for a year, and you spent that entire year traveling the country.
Yeah.
Well, we can add some.
Go ahead, Chrissy.
Oh, I was just going to say that there's some of the things that you brought. You should double check if you're going to bring. So if you're going to bring a propane stove and burner, you should probably make sure that the propane fits propane burner, correct?
Yeah, the different canisters over in Europe. So that was probably a pound or two that I drug a significant amount of time on my back that I probably could have checked off the list and not brought it initially. So just a heads up there. Propane canister difference over in Europe.
You were all excited, and we said,
"Yeah,
go ahead." Sorry,
a small bag, like backpack kind of small bag that you don't mind carrying around all the time. It's not going to be cumbersome, but to keep your stuff in and keep it dry, and I thought that was very useful. A radio, if you want to listen to Radio Le Mans, and which you can have. Which was fine. We got ours there. But if you had a small one at home, or some of the old iPods had a radio in them, I think. Something like that. If you had that kicking around, that'd be good.
But I think the radio channel, you have a hard time getting the radio channel.
We didn't know about the English channel until
right, until somebody next to
the US style ones, because you need the European style even number. It's like 91.2.
And then it's like MW or something. So when you don't have an FM, it's a different switch. So and we ended up listening to it, but we were listening to it in French, and our English speaking neighbors were like, why are you not listening to me in English? And we were like, oh, there's English? And we just like scrolled just a tiny bit and it was in English. And we're like, oh, here, we don't have to translate. That's amazing. So the things you learn from your neighbors.
Because I feel like, I mean, I know we follow each other on Duolingo, which is hilarious because I'm doing Spanish and you do French. But
yes,
like native speakers, they speak automatically too fast. Like that's the trouble I always have with Spanish.
Correct.
And then the hyperactivity of a race announcer. This is like just, doubly speed. And you just, Chrissy, what are they saying? Somebody went fast.
Voiture.
Somebody went slower. Car
no.
got passed.
Right, car is voiture. So they're saying number cinq, whatever. It's whatever. They were trying to keep up, and they were like, we're not really sure what's happening, and a gauche. Anyway, a radio ended up being a pretty good purchase. That was pretty good. Okay, so we have a couple things that we were filling in of what not to bring. Actually, it's probably not what not to buy. Chris has one.
A gallon of Nutella. You don't need a gallon of Nutella. Just
you also don't need two full jars of jam or enough meat for 10 people. Because Dave thought that he was going to cook and eat every meal at the track when he was going to make his sandwiches and then what? Yes, go ahead. Speak for yourself.
In my defense, we had like 16 baguettes, right? And so if any of us decided to either go the Nutella route the entire time, the jars of jam the entire time, or meat for 10, we would have had enough. We would have had enough of each product. So not knowing which route we were going.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's peanut butter too. What was I eating? Oh, I was eating. That was my dessert. After I ate some of the meat for 10, I ate a baguette with peanut butter and Nutella. So we did have some of that, but definitely a little much.
My Italian grandmother would have been proud. No one can ever go hungry, so she would have been very proud of you guys.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you for the support, Tim. I appreciate it. You understand where I come from then, right? You get it.
Oh.
Well, and with the meat for 10, because again, I'm trying to Steiber stock you in real time here. There was, I got to find it. Here it is. Yes,
we ate a lot of charcuterie.
Yes, we did.
It was going to keep okay without a lot of refrigeration.
Right.
It was
There's
going
a
with the bread.
vending machine right there.
Heck yeah, there is.
Yeah,
that was at the first.
The little bakery that is at the tram stop at Carrefour. If you just go the other end of the block from Carrefour, is this little lovely French bakery, and that does have a baguette vending machine, which is the most French thing you can get. Plus, it's just inside. There's you could get a jambon beurre. It's a ham, cheese, and butter sandwich on a fresh baguette. It's €3.20, and the croissants are $1, and the chocolate croissants are $1 or €1.50.
Cheapest you could get in ever. We're just downtown, and we should have gotten our week's worth of food there because it was delicious and cheap. So. Yes. Hey, Mantle, if you actually go to my Facebook, I have each day worth of photos that you could be finding the things that we're talking about. So
yes, a great many of them. From especially when you guys were at the beach and stuff afterwards. Yes.
No. There's every day there. If you have to keep going. I posted the first day's pictures. You have to keep going. 2 weeks behind. Anyway,
okay.
You don't have to share all this stuff now. All right. So, what to buy? What did we miss about this stuff? We talked about extra shoes.
Well, we got
extra shoes.
We got the ticket holder. Dave's right there.
Yep.
I like the beer versus booze discussion because here's what's available at the track. It's pretty much just Carlsberg, and that's it. And that's what it is. You buy it in a 50 centiliter portion, and it's between €8 and €10 depending on where in the track you get. That's pretty much it. So, and
there were 2 or 3 different places you could get something different. So we kind of went on missions to figure out where those places were. And every once in a while we'll find them. But for the most part, it was Carlsberg. That's what you got. So we went both. We did both. What? I'm sorry.
Keep going.
What? Oh, beers versus booze. So we got everything at Carrefour. Dave bought a lot of different beers. All of them looked fun. Some of them didn't make it to the cooler fast enough, and then I think you ended up maybe even just bringing one with you. I think we had one we brought with us after the race, so we didn't finish all of the beer. But Chris and I did pretty well with booze, and making cups before we left our camp and bringing them with us. We had Chris bought cheap covered thermos type, like metal cup kind of things,
Reusable cups
with lids.
Yep.
With lids, and so we would fill them before we would leave, and we did have some ice. So the booze kind of seemed to go pretty well in carrying, well, maybe a little bit better than trying to keep some beer cold. That's what I'm trying to get at.
That makes sense. So booze over beer.
Yeah.
It's a smaller volume is really what it is. And the beer is readily available everywhere if you just want your Carlsberg. It's great. But yeah, the way they do cups there, it's you get a LeMans cup, you have to buy it the first time, and after that they just refill it for you. That's it. So you don't have to keep buying the cup. Plus then you have a nice souvenir cup that you can use the rest of your trip or bring it home. We use that,
which we totally did. Yes, the whole time. It was great. We had two of the bigger ones, and then the one time I got a little a coffee, and that came in a littler one. So use all three of them through the whole trip. So it was great.
Yes. All right, Lucy.
Dave, what you got there?
So a couple of things that I did not bring. You guys mentioned bringing a camping mattress. I did not have one on the first night and suffered. So I ended up buying one the second day. I used Tomas's BMW to pump it up using the exhaust. So I had an exhaust mattress. We also ended up... It worked. And I wasn't blowing that thing up. Let me tell you. No way. It did. And then we also had to purchase the cooler, and then the whole tent tarp thing. If you don't bring a tent, tiny tent, you'll need to purchase or procure tent or tarps. And as for food, we mentioned charcuterie. There was an absolute just walls of charcuterie. The whole section is called charcuterie. So between that and cheese and some bread or chips or crackers, you can make meals out of that. And then as much as I got jazz for my couscous, that couscous lasted me like a day and a half. It was a Mediterranean couscous. It didn't seem like it needed to be refrigerated. And then also mentioned briefly as well, smaller and more controlled peanut butter, jelly, Nutella, and also not glass. So smaller portions.
I like controlled.
That's a good idea. I didn't go on this trip, but I've spent some time in Europe and the Curacao, and this was one of the things that I saw a lot of Americans make the mistake of, is we do tend to buy in bulk, even when we're not, because our food keeps. But if you went to the fresh bakery and you bought like a bunch of bread, 3 days later, that bread's going to have mold on it because you just don't buy 4 days worth of stuff. Is there any lesson in that there? They just want you to buy small amounts fresher? Okay.
Just the preservatives that they do here as much.
That is correct. But the Carrefour was not that way. It was very difficult to get anything smaller than what. So we're making fun of Dave for getting a gallon of Nutella, but it's not like they had we have the tiny versions that you can buy the 8 ounces or less. I mean, you could only buy those. We bought a 6-pack of baguettes because that's kind of what they sold. I mean, they had the one big one, but yes, it was difficult at the store that we were at. It was not like we had many options to get the tiny sizes. I feel like that's to Dave's credit.
Yep.
And then one call out of what not to buy. Tried them, don't recommend them, is the pre-made crepes. It's like, they end up getting soggy in the cooler, and I tried one with the Nutella, and it just... Stay with the fresh made crepes.
Let's talk about the different potential food strategies that there are. And that, Dave, you tried to go for, I'm going to get everything I need at Carrefour and do it that way. Some of the other folks we were with, they just basically, while they're at the track, they just bought all their meals there. Okay, so where's kind of the happy medium there? I think we were okay with what we did. It was nice. It was great to have food at the campsite. It was great to be able to have a snack before you went out. Great to have a lunch there. But sometimes once you're all the way far away at the track, you're just going to buy something wherever it is. Probably fries or, we had poutine. We had actually delicious crepe at one point too, which was great. So I decide your strategy before you go. If you decide, you know what, I'm just going to buy everything there, you're definitely going to spend more, but probably not quite as much more as you think necessarily depends on how much you eat. So, but just, I guess, think about it ahead of time, what your strategy is.
It was nice to have the snacks. There were definitely plenty of times where we went back to the camp and then said, "Oh, we're a little bit hungry. Let's eat some cheese." And then you feel like you only need to eat a little bit less when after you go out. Oh, that's a picture of me eating my breakfast crepe at our seats. So yeah, you end up like, okay, well, I'm gonna eat a little bit, and then you could share a meal when you get out there, and you don't have to end up just eating, like whole. We never went out and just had, both had burgers or anything like that. Look, that's our cooler table with some charcuterie. That was probably at like 8 p.m.
Yep, some beers.
Beers and charcuterie just sitting at the cooler, waiting for the next thing to, next people to come around or for us to go to the next place. So definitely having some food was a great thing.
You have to plan a little ahead because the lines can get quite long at sometimes in some spots, like really quite long. And the bathroom lines can get pretty epic in certain places too. So
unbelievable. Like we decided that some of the lines got so long that we said, well, let's go back to our campsite because chances are, because you need the tickets to get into that campsite, chances are the lines are going to be shorter going back, like basically back to our house, which was pretty far away. But if you're going to stand in line to go to the bathroom, it's worth it. Or you could just pee against the wall, which is like many other people did.
That's a European thing, though.
Well, eventually
Pun
you
intended,
run out of time.
But yeah.
You don't have any other options. It's like, well,
I remember, and this was literally 30 years ago, but you always had to have coins for the ladies' room because all the stalls were coin operated. But dudes were perfectly allowed to just go pee against anything.
Yep. Yeah, so you could say you could run out of time, except for I just had to make sure that I had enough time to stand in line because that's just how it works. So
these were all free, and the bathrooms in the camping area were all unisex. The ones in the more populated areas were gender specific.
They were not. So they were not specific on Thursday. And then Friday and Saturday, they stuck the women's sign on the one stall that had 3 stalls in it, the one trailer, and that became the women's room.
Okay.
Unless you went in there.
And
you walked by the sign. Yes.
So I got some weird
the
looks.
showers were not gender specific, really.
That's correct. That is correct.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So we learned a lot.
The Grimbergen beer when you're there. The amber was the one that we all liked the best. Like we had that the very first day we showed up. It was delicious. We showed up at the first place to meet Chris Champion and get our tickets. And Dave got us all these chalices of Grimbergen.
The car had broken
amber.
down. And Chris was like, no. I said, can we just stay for one beer? We've been driving around for hours. And I was like, we just need one beer. And Chris was like, no, I want to get to the site. I want to do what we need to do. And we had one and we were like, it was like the best beer we had of the trip. So I'm glad that we stopped. And it was a fun place to just stop off. So Grimbergen. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
I had the picture of all of you guys with Chris, but all right. Yes.
So what would we do differently? Dave, you've got some ideas here to start off. So why don't you get us rolling on this?
Well, if you're going to be cooking, bring your supplies. Don't just go partial. So more cooking supplies, like I mentioned, a pot would have been nice rather than buying one and tossing it. And just some spices and some other stuff that I typically would bring. It would be nice to have a few more supplies. As for just staying at the track versus perhaps renting a place, at least from my first experience, I thought it was great to be right there at the campsite where we stayed, UNX. You're a good distance from the tram access, which is into town for the driver's parade or the Carrefour, and then 10-minute walk to Dunlop Bridge, and then all the activities, Hydrogen Village and Manufacturer Village. So definitely a pro of camping versus perhaps staying off site because you're right there.
I totally agree. I think it was really nice to be able, like we were said, that we just go home, get changed or go have a snack and just get a drink and everybody's taking a rest, especially when the race isn't going off because there's some support races, but people are kind of all over the place. So, and then with the people that we went with did not stay with us. We had the Mantle had the last picture up with the couple guys and the three of us. That was just the camping crew. So we didn't actually get a full picture with everybody because we decided to leave a little bit early. But I would say it was really nice to go back. The biggest thing, it was nice to go back when it rained all night and there was a yellow flag for 5 hours. And Chris and I said, hey, let's just, we'll go back and take a little nap and then we'll get back up. So one of the couple of pictures that Mantle was showing was Chris and I decided to go sit at the seats. It was about midnight. And that's when they were racing still for a little while. And then they just started to go yellow. And then we decided to go, and it was raining, just pelting rain. And we decided to go eat poutine at midnight. And then we were like, well, let's just go to sleep for a little while. So it was really nice to not have to get back on the tram and go back to the house and then go, try to trek places. We could just say, okay, we'll just lay down for 2 hours. We turned the radio on, or actually we also had a nap. It told you what was happening. It still said yellow, and I'm like, all right, we'll go back to sleep for a little while. Oh, okay, we'll go back to sleep for a while, and we missed nothing. Yeah. So it was really nice to be able to just
at 3 or 4 a.m. and watch the night racing a bit. That was our plan. But when we wake up and it's pouring rain and it's yellow, we say, nope, I'm staying right here. That's okay.
Yeah. So we're pretty darn, in that picture, we're pretty darn cold. That is midnight. And we were like, well, okay, we'll have a snack. I guess we'll go to bed for a while. So that was huge and nice to know that we didn't miss anything. So sorry for everybody that was watching on TV. But we were happy to know that we actually got some sleep. Unlike Dave, who went on an adventure and did not get nearly as much sleep as we did. And we didn't expect to get as much sleep as we did, but because of the weather, we decided to do that.
Yeah, I guess I headed to Mousseline Corner. Myself, Tom, Tomas, and Dave, we took a bus down to Mousseline Corner. We hung out there for a bit, met up with Mary, and I think Anton as well. Watched that for the start of, I guess, an early double yellow, including the LeMans yellow return to green sequence is 4 different phases, and it takes a significantly long time. They have 3 pace cars or 3 safety cars that pick up different groups as the first phase. The second phase is I believe they get everybody together. Third phase is they put people in order, and then the fourth phase, I guess, is release. But so we spent a couple downs at the corner, and then we had taken the bus back a bit further towards where we're camping to the true Arnage corner for some real close to the action activity, including a sharp handing right there at the corner. These guys are still shifting up to within I think 100 meters or so. They're still shifting a shift up, and then at the one they are downshifting and making that sharp right hand turn. So that's pretty very active corner. A lot of good activity there, and makes for some really cool taillight pictures, moving cars and whatnot. Some between that and some slow-mo as well, which is pretty wild.
Then you said that was one of the highlights, and you guys came back pretty jazzed, which I was a little sad about but it also took you hours to get out there, and then you sat in the rain for a while. So it was one of those you weren't going to go, and then all of a sudden decided to take the trek. So it sounds like it was a good experience.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm glad we stayed camping the first time. I think the first time or two you go, I think it's the way to go so that you can have all the options to, try everything, go at any hour, always have a home base to come back to, the bathroom without the line, the snack, the beverage, it's all there. You don't have to carry it all. I think if we were the kind that were going to keep going back regularly, I think by like the third time, I would say let's try renting a place in town this year, and doing that strategy and seeing which one we like better. But I think starting off camping is the way to go.
On that note, though, we went with 20 other people ish, and they all stayed in a Airbnb, or a lot of them did, and they had to take the tram. The problem is that through Saturday and after the start of the race, before the start of the race, through the race, and then Sunday, the tram gets so packed that you literally can't get on anymore. So they had times where they were said, yeah, we'll go, but we're standing in a line. It's going to be another hour before we get on a tram. So you end up being a salmon trying to get to the track with everybody else. So that's the only problem of when you stay in town. Seems great. You're close to the driver parade. You can, go wherever you need to in town. But I would say that was a problem that they had when you're going to and from the track. It ends up getting very busy.
Yep. Cool.
All right. So
Metal, Tim,
what I'm taking away
you guys want
from this is pack light. For God's sakes, have some sort of comfort mattress thing that either, and with the exception of like the items that are European specific, try to pack small versions as much of this as possible and then just buy the stuff you need there, except for the food, which don't, like if you're cooking, cool, but it sounds like there was no shortage of readily available or even short-term storage food.
No.
And
you just got to go before you get there, or take the tram out to Carrefour, not on Saturday afternoon
when everybody, during the race is going on. And I tend towards the more comfortable side of things. And like, Dave and I were in Alaska last year, and I saw, or 2 years ago. it was last year. And Dave is a hard man, and I say that complimentary. Like he will find things that I would find unacceptable as, oh, this is just wonderful. This is great. So I imagine if I go, I'm sleeping in a car. I'm not doing a tent. I'm not a tent person.
Yes, you should. Yes. I don't know. And many people, I'm laughing so much because Chris and I made sure to buy cheaper shoes. The shoes made Chris is still suffering from the blisters that he got from walking in those shoes. But Dave was like, I don't need shoes. I'm good. So then our shoes are wet, and Dave's shoes, you have like Hey Dude shoes, right? Like normal canvas shoes. And they're so wet that Dave is now walking around through people's broken beer bottles with no shoes on because his shoes are too wet. And I was like,
it's not the reason why.
Do that.
It's a preference. I mean, I know. It's two safety people hanging out with me, and I'm like, put your shoes on.
I was like, I can't.
It wasn't just a LeMans thing. That's how I preferred to have shoes on. I would walk the track with those shoes if I could.
I'd rather have a cut than a blister.
I also hate shoes. I'm down.
Sure, but this is an area that was not okay. I said, if you're in my campsite, you have to wear shoes.
Be prepared to walk a lot. Like a lot. Extra socks. If you have problems with blisters, bring the stick-on blister things. As soon as you get a hot spot, get that on there. You're gonna walk a lot. Like ibuprofen. If you get sore after you walk 30,000 steps per day.
Yeah, I think the one day we did half the track, and we were walking with Mary and Anton, and they were like half making fun of us for only walking half of it. That was just over 4 miles, and that's just the track. That's the Mulsanne Straight, which is the longest freaking straight I just can't even understand how long it is. It just keeps going. And so we said we need to stop. And they were like, oh, your guys are terrible and you don't walk enough. And then Chris had full blister. His bottom of his feet were full blisters. So,
But we
yes.
got on the
Tip for
bus
that.
while it was pouring rain. It was great. While we were watching, we were like, oh, we're on the bus. This is nice.
It was awesome.
So, hot tip, if you're going to be walking around with wet feet, go and get yourself a tube of Aquaphor, because that stuff is amazing. So somebody that's run long races in the rain with wet feet, lube those suckers up, and it feels weird, but you won't get blisters.
Oh, Chris
Cool.
is like adding to cart right now.
Amazon cart.
Mhm.
Right.
Amazon cart. All right. Any more questions for us?
For you guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now that you've done it, will you go again, and what frequency would you prefer to go? Like every year, every 5 years? What's your take on that?
So I can start. We went this year because we wanted to go with friends. So Mary Harris and Chris Champion have gone since 2012 might be the first one. I know they talked about the year 14
This
a
is like their
lot. So
7th
something like
time,
that.
I think. Yeah.
Right. 10th, 8th, yeah. And they've a whole bunch of the other friends have gone that many times. They've done it many times, different ways. They haven't camped in a while. Brought kids, didn't bring kids. Brought whole families, didn't bring families. And they go every other year. So that's why we went on this year. We were supposed to go 4 years ago, and that was when COVID hit. So we just, and then 2 years ago also was a uptick in COVID. So we would go back with them. I think it was really awesome to find out where they were, and they were at different corners, and we could meet up with friends, and people are sitting at the seats. We went to different set of seats that we would not have gone to for the Fun Cup races, which actually might have been the best racing we saw all weekend because it was
two
in different
competitors
locations.
in that were friends of the show, both Kevin Madsen and Tyler Hoffman. And Tyler Hoffman, I believe, podiumed.
I was actually talking with Tyler Hoffman because I told him, and I sent him pictures because I said, "Hey, I saw you on track," and I took a bunch of pictures of him on track. So it was
Going
that
with
was
people
actually
is really nice.
Yes. We will not go again anytime soon. That's the answer.
And it's because we just have a lot of other places and things we want to do and go. And this is a big commitment to do by the time we're over there. And it's not that it was bad, but it actually was quite like a lot of other just motorsports festival kind of events. Like it was like a lot like going to F1, except that the race goes longer that one time. But the rest of the kind of whole weekend was a very similar experience. And it's an all-encompassing and consuming experience, and that's great. But frankly, the racing is much better watching it on television than it is being there. And that goes for all of these things. It's great to experience it and hear the sights, the sounds, the feels. It's great to experience those and know what it's like, but it's not great for watching the racing itself. And we're just going to go other places for a while. I'm not going to say we're not going to go back, but not for a couple of years at least.
Yeah. I think I'm going to have to agree with Chris and Chrissy on not going back anytime soon. I definitely say bucket list checked in terms of getting to Le Mans, especially after the delay that we had a couple years ago. France had never been really in my top 10 list to even travel to. Had it not been for Le Mans, I still probably wouldn't have been to France. I find the French very intimidating and the language very so unlike the other Romanian languages. And I also agree with Chris. There's too many places in the world that I haven't been to that I like to travel before I do a repeat in Le Mans. And second, on the taking it with friends, it was, would have been much a different experience. Having not even just met up with Chris and Chrissy, because I would have still been trying to figure out the train schedule down and back by myself. We were all looking at the train schedule at one point. Yeah, we were still all looking at it at one point.
Yeah.
When the car was having problems, but the car down and out from Paris down to Le Mans, I thought the car was I can very much see it. It's an easy button to pull the trigger on the car, or at least work with somebody who has one, because I could definitely see the tram and train park being a challenge.
Especially with all the crap that you bought, you'd have struggled a little bit.
Right?
Like you're going on a longer trip and you have to haul it all with you. It's always tough
Right.
getting on and off the trains without, like, we tried to pack light for the two of us, and still getting from the one the one RER train or the regional TER train to the subway, to the other subway, through the Gare de Lyon to get to the TGV. Like, it was a lot.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I do remember, like, because I even had plane tickets when, the 2020 nonsense came up. And I'm still a member of some Facebook groups of cars that are for sale in a couple of different European destinations, because I was going to go over there and either buy something and leave it there or buy something and ship it home. So, yeah, there is an adventure to that. We'll talk about Goodwood, because I think Goodwood Festival speeds. Anybody else interested in that one?
I think
Okay.
there's a group playing there. So.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's out there.
There we go. All right, because I do have friends in England, and we could come over there and get something stupid and drive it to Goodwood, and if it's big enough, sleep in it. If it's not, we'll pitch tents off of the corners of it.
Don't need a tent. Just need a tarp and a string. Come on, have we not learned anything tonight? Have we not learned anything tonight? You don't need a tent.
You too
You
can make
really
your own
don't.
hovel. It's great.
Oh, now I do see here in the
it
show
worked.
notes, and I do want to bring this one up. And I've been trying to keep the camera straight on this, and I have not been able to thus far. But here in the show notes, in the corner here, so there is the flags that Dave was talking about. And as much as I want to give someone a hard time, Dave, I'm with you. I can absolutely see how you would make that mistake. They're both crosses,
Especially
just
hanging and waving.
one's bigger.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hanging, waving in the rain.
Thanks for
Yeah, exactly. With a lot of beer too, there's definitely beer involved in that one. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
And
so
they can
aside from us,
drink.
yeah,
So-
aside from us going offline and making our plans for Goodwood next year or 2 years, around the horn, anything else? Anything else people need to add? All right.
Yeah, we'll talk
Nope.
more about
I think we
the
told you what-
racing and some other stuff at a different time. But this is good
Yes.
for this part.
It was how you guys did LeMans, and legitimate camping at a motorsports or just adventuring advice from someone who is, with the exception of Antarctica and Australia, is there a continent you haven't camped on yet, Dave? I feel like you might not have gotten to Africa yet, but we'll give it time, because yes.
I lived in Africa for 3 years. I haven't been to South America. I haven't been to Antarctica.
All right. I'm
Two more to go.
not going with you to Antarctica, but I will go with
Fault.
you to South America. Because I know Antarctica, I'm going to be like, so where's our hotel? And you're going to pull out a tarp and a piece of string, and I'm not.
In your alien costume, for which some people actually had a problem
Yeah,
with. So it didn't always go well.
great.
Someone had a problem with his onesie? That's just wrong, man.
Well, I don't know. Some of it might have been him too. So I don't know that it was always the ones.
It was 4 a.m. The guy was being a nozzle about the music. Okay, let's just say that. I did walk over there with the alien costume, looking the way I looked, and with and asked them to turn it down. Eventually, they complied. But
I'll say, well, you're a charming guy, and usually you have a themed onesie. You had the moose onesie in Alaska. I mean, man,
I took the alien one with me. It was quite comfortable, and it's multi-purpose too.
It made him easy to spot in a crowd. Really, it was nice. Oh, there's
That is
Dave.
excellent. All right, there you go. All right,
No longer gentleman Dave, now alien Dave.
Yeah, right.
all right.
Now.
Dave, again, thanks for stopping by. I'm sorry we didn't get to hang out more when you're in Vegas, but I understand why, because you are a dedicated family man, and this is why we actually had to reschedule the show, because your nephew had a thing you had to make it to, which is pretty awesome.
They end up second in states for 8U in Pennsylvania, Southeast PA. Quite enjoyable. 8U first year for Kid Pitch. My third nephew, he's been playing, and we've been all supporting him. So pretty awesome. They did really well. It was fun to go hang out.
That's fantastic. All right. So I'm screwing this up already, but Dave, as we always, thank you for stopping by. Where can people find you?
Yep, still with Caddy Wrecker on the Facebooks and the Instagram. Most of the same content on both the websites or whatnot.
There you go.
Just me and the doggo. I think the doggo needs her own page because that's the only reason people come nowadays.
Valid. There's a chunk of your Suburban right there. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was great. Do we have any idea what we're talking about next week?
No.
Yeah.
No, but we usually figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
It's like 7 whole days from now. It's fine. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
Six, actually.
Yeah. It's fine.
It's fine.
Don't
All right.
ruin the mood, Tim.
Well,
Chrissy?
I imagine just the tip would be
No.
stay dry, watch your feet, look after blisters. All that.
Yeah, don't look. Yeah, look out for broken glass in the dirt when you're walking without shoes.
And
You
look
have
out for
crappy
blisters when you have
shoes.
crappy shoes. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, or I bought in France. I learned they have this like these plastic blister preventing things. I'm used to moleskin from hiking, but this stuff is way better and more effective. Get them ahead of time. They really work nicely.
All right.
Or if you have to buy them in Paris, then they're just really, really expensive, but so worth it.
So
Or here's one more tip. We learned this from Mary. In France, you can buy topical ibuprofen gel. So if you have something that hurts, you can just rub this on, and it works fantastic.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
not
like I
available
want
here,
that.
but-
I want that just
and it was
because
like
I'm old.
$15 for the tube.
Well, and it's funny because we went into a pharmacy and asked for this, and they say, no, hold. And then they go back into the back, and they find this tube. So they didn't even realize they had it because nobody asked for it. So
that was on Mary's recommendation. He's like, oh, they have it here, and it's great. So, yeah, you should get that.
All right. That's fantastic.
Mary for the win.
All right.
pretty much.
It didn't work last week. I'm going to see if it works this time.
I'll get the speaker just in case.
Yeah, get the speaker just in case. But if not, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We also hope you will join us in the world of driving, racing, and building, because everyone can be a racer, even you. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It's totally free. And go to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating. Even if you hated us, give us 5 stars and tell us why. If you have any questions or show ideas, drop us a comment on our Facebook page, Everyone Racers, or email us at everyone.racers@gmail.com. You can still text pictures of your junk to me at 484-243-0455. Find us on Instagram at everyone.racers, YouTube and Facebook under Everyone Racers, and even Reddit at /E1R. Thanks again. Until next week, keep the shiny side up. Unless, like us, there is no shiny side, then just keep those wheels down.